The 40s are back. The 40s are back for our mornings, but will the spring sunshine carry us throughout the weekend and warm you up in West Alabama? I'll have your forecast.
More than 24 local families are struggling after a fire. We'll tell you what started the fire and how you can help these families from an apartment complex they called home.
And a legendary team returns home to a hero's welcome. See how the Crimson Tide basketball team is celebrated in T-Town before they take off for the Final Four. WVUA 23 News starts right now.
This is WVUA 23 News.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Rachel Seal.
And I'm Alyssa Kelly. Our top story tonight. One person is in the hospital after a Tuscaloosa apartment complex caught fire Sunday afternoon. This is a video of the aftermath of that fire. It happened in the Lenox Square apartments on Crescent Ridge Road on University Boulevard. Tuscaloosa Fire Chief Randy Smith says the fire started from a cooking accident. 26 families lost their home. One person whose lives they're still trying to handle the emotions.
My apartment didn't burn, but the one next to it did, and I don't know if any of my stuff is salvageable or not. I may not even be able to get in, but if not, but some people here lost everything. But I'm just glad that we all made it out alive, because as long as we're alive, we got a chance.
According to the National Fire Protection Association, 44% of all home fires are cooking related. Officials say 4 people had to be rescued out of the complex. 2 of them had minor injuries, but one refused treatment at DCH Medical Center. One woman witnessed the fire and shares her experience.
And the whole place was smoked up. So after I got through, I could see the back of my car. And I said, the car's on fire. And I was telling the fireman, the car's on fire. And he was like, baby, you can't get that car, it's on fire. And I was like, okay. And I just left back out.
Temporary emergency services will be accepting donations Monday through Friday for the fire victims. They're encouraging everyone to donate since so many families were affected.
And the Alabama men's basketball team made history making it to the Final Four Saturday night. The excitement for the team is energetic here in West Alabama, and the fans wanted to welcome their team home and show their appreciation. Alabama secured that elusive Final Four appearance, defeating Clemson 89-82 to win the West Region. The team returned to Tuscaloosa Sunday. Fans greeted them at the airport with flags flying and plenty of Roll Tides. The players signed autographs and took pictures with the hundreds who showed up. Head coach Nate Oates proudly showed off their newest trophy, and he said they are already focused on the upcoming challenge.
So it's been a lot of guys coming together. You know, this week off between games will hopefully get Reitzel back with us, because we're going to need all the firepower we can get on the offensive side and defensively. I've been watching some UConn film on the way back, and you know, I obviously watch UConn whenever I get a chance. I'm close to Danny Hurley, but so it's cool that we play each other in the Final Four.
Coming up later, Mauricio Gomez will have more on Final Four coverage and the Tide celebration as the March Madness continues.
West Alabama includes 9 counties, and there's food insecurity ranging from 15 to 31% in our region. Those numbers can represent more than twice the U.S. average. That's why it's important for local organizations to help out by providing food and resources. Lyric Franklin joins us now live to tell how one local agency received a big help with their efforts. Lyric?
U.S. Representative Terry Sewell has secured more than $13 million for Alabama's 7th District, and that comes with a sigh of relief for some local organizations. Federal funds amounting to $850,000 will go to the West Alabama Food Bank. The agency will use the money to increase food distribution capabilities in Alabama's westernmost counties, support existing programs, and implement new programs. The funding will also go to 13 community projects addressing the most pressing needs in District 7.
This will be really nice because we won't have to worry about, oh, it's going to cost this much for gas to feed only this many people. We won't have to have that problem of, is it a smart decision?
Funding will also go to Hale County for upgrades to the Hale County Hospital and Pickens County for a new 911 emergency communications facility. Back to you.
Thanks, Lyric. I know that is some welcome news to those communities and for people in West Alabama who need the help. Crews are still searching for missing people after the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore Tuesday. A large shipping container struck the bridge after it veered off course. The ship lost its power. Cameras caught the collapse and showed the lights on the boat flickering before the collision. The boat's captain issued a mayday before the incident, which allowed authorities to stop traffic from entering the bridge. 8 construction workers were on the bridge at the time. 2 have been rescued, one of which has been taken to the hospital in critical condition. At this time, sonar has marked at least 5 vehicles underwater. Westmore. The mayor of Maryland says their goal is to bring closure to the families affected.
As we move on to this next phase of what is just an absolutely catastrophic and horrific occurrence in our state, we also want to make sure that these families understand that they are being prayed over, that they are being supported, and our focus is also making sure that they can find closure.
According to Moore, the bridge was fully up to code and had no structural issues. Around 35,000 people use the bridge daily, and there are now being detoured to tunnels.
First responders located 2 of the missing bridge workers who fell into the Baltimore Harbor after the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed. Divers recovered 2 bodies of workers who were filling potholes on the bridge when it collapsed around 1:30 a.m. Wednesday morning. Divers recovered the bodies a day after the collapse. However, 4 workers are still missing and are presumed to be dead. Rescue efforts have been suspended since debris in the river has contributed to hazardous search conditions. Officials were able to stop traffic from crossing the bridge before the collapse, but were unable to warn the workers.
Larry DeSantis is still processing what could have happened to him. He believes he is the last person to have possibly crossed the Baltimore Bridge before its collapse. DeSantis was leaving his job in Pasadena, Maryland around 1:18 a.m., traveling 30 minutes to his second job. This all happened roughly 10 minutes before the Baltimore Bridge collapsed. DeSantis says he didn't hear or see the bridge collapse. He knew about it because one of his co-workers called him.
I may not be talking to you right now if if I had been a minute later. It was that close. I mean, it's scary. I just can't believe it happened, or whatever. But I consider myself very lucky, very lucky.
DeSantis is now counting his blessings and says he is thankful to be alive. After seeing videos of the Baltimore Bridge collapse, some New Yorkers are worried about their own state's infrastructure safety. New York City officials held a news conference to reassure the city that a bridge collapse will not happen in their state. Transportation officials said safety precautions are in place, including ship collision protections. They reassured citizens that 14 spans are closely monitored and that large cargo ships do not travel along the Hudson or East Rivers. Engineers also said newer bridges are built to withstand impact than older bridges are not. Most New York bridges have their support columns at the edges of the bridge instead of the middle to prevent a collapse.
Former Senator and Vice Presidential candidate Joe Lieberman died Wednesday afternoon. Lieberman suffered complications from a fall, his family said in a statement. His wife and loved ones were by his side when he passed away Wednesday afternoon in New York. Lieberman was the first Orthodox Jew to get elected to the U.S. Senate. He was also the Democratic vice presidential nominee who ran with former Vice President Al Gore in the 2000 presidential election. They were defeated by former President Bush. Lieberman's funeral will be held on Friday in his hometown of Stamford, Connecticut. Hundreds of people paid their respects to an NYPD officer who died following a shootout. Investigators say a suspect is in custody accused of shooting and killing Officer Jonathan Diller during a routine traffic stop in Queens on Monday. Diller and another officer pulled a car over because it was parked illegally at a bus stop. The officers then asked the suspects to get out of the vehicle. Police say the passenger then pulled out a gun and shot Diller. Diller was 31 years old and lived on Long Island with his wife and infant son. Diller's partner returned fire on the passenger and wounded 34-year-old Guy Rivera. Rivera is recovering at the hospital and is facing numerous charges.
The Supreme Court is discussing a potential ban of the abortion pill mifepristone Stone. On Tuesday, the court heard a challenge to the Food and Drug Administration's regulation of the abortion pill. Currently, women can take the pill to end their pregnancies. However, pro-life lobbyists are asking the court to limit access to the drug since there's been an increase in emergency room visits due to complications with the drug after the court overturned the right to abortion. This is the first abortion-related case the court has heard since overturning Roe v. Wade in 2002. Pro-life and pro-choice groups are protesting outside of the Supreme Court as they wait for the court to make a decision that will affect the nation. The court is set to make a decision in June, but they will hear another abortion-related case next month. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has authorized the emergency use of a new prevented COVID drug. Permagarda is a preventative drug available for patients at high risk for immunocompromised patients. Must be at least 12 years old to receive the new antibody drug. Permagarda can be taken every 3 months as an infusion at doctors' offices and hospitals. However, the infusion is not a replacement for the vaccine and does not prevent COVID if you have already been exposed to the virus. The FDA has not fully approved the drug, but Permagarda should be available within the next week.
Travelers may soon refuse facial recognition scans at airport security. Starting December 1st, the federal government is implementing these new safeguards intended to prevent U.S. agencies from abusing artificial intelligence. The measures address situations like screening at the airport to decisions about health care, employment, and housing. Agencies that use artificial intelligence will have to have a chief AI officer and publish a complete list of the AI systems it uses. The requirements are an effort by the federal government to ensure humans are verifying the results of AI technology.
The Biden administration is addressing what they call junk insurance and what those changes are.
And one family is grieving after a fatal incident at a hotel pool. WVUA 23 News has those stories and more right after the break.